Kid Zone team. I want to take a minute and just talk to you about a passage in Ephesians 4 that talks about how people doing ministry, pastors, evangelists, teachers, prophets, and apostles, their job is to equip the saints for ministry, equip people to do the work of the ministry. Um, and I actually view everybody on this team as having that role. Our job is to help people get to the place where they're able to fulfill the calling that God has on their life, to step out and do the things that God has uniquely designed them to do. Um, Ephesians also says that we are God's workmanship created in Christ Jesus to do good works which God prepared in advance for us to do. So our job as a team of coordinators and leaders overseeing Kid Zone and working with a lot of young people under our leadership is to identify how God has uniquely made people and what has God designed them to do and help to release them to do those things. So we are those equippers. We are gathering a group of people, identifying what God can do through them, and giving them that opportunity and helping to get them prepared to do that. So, what I want to challenge you to do is, and I wrote this out as a pretty simple 5-step process. So, number one, I think it's important that each of us has an idea of who are we developing. So, who are we looking at right now that's on our team that we know has more to give and who are we targeting to really step into the purpose and the calling that God has them? Now, in all reality, we can't be developing every single person on our team. Some of us have like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that are reporting to us, and not everyone is in the development phase. Maybe some people are just in a stable spot, and that's good. But we should be identifying some people on our team that we are intentionally developing and helping them to grow and to step in to the calling and the purpose that God has for them. So, my challenge to each one of you is to have at least 3 people that you are intentionally developing. And this is going to be some homework. I'd like for each one of you to kind of report back on what your plan is for this. So, number one, who are you developing? Number two, what is your goal for them? So if you have somebody that is a new small group leader, what is your goal for them? Maybe they're in the training process. I'm going to use one person as an example that we are still in process with. So the 11:15 service, we were desperately needing small group leaders, and I contacted Josh Nuschler. He is a freshman in high school. Grew up in the children's ministry, grew up in the church, good dude, but never got connected as a leader in Kid Zone. So I called him, texted him, and just said, hey, do you want to do this? And he jumped on board. And my goal for him was to be a small group leader by March 1st. I knew that he had some capacity. He was pretty good with kids. So he started coming, probably 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And he's been in process of being trained. But I identified him as a person that I wanted to have a plan for, that I wanted to develop. And my goal for him was for him to be a small group leader. And the deadline for that, this is the number 3 thing, when do you want them to reach that goal, was March 1st. So I've been working on this with Pastor Sarah, with Sean, and figuring this out. So number 1 was, who am I developing? It was Josh. Number 2, what am I developing to do, or what's my goal? It was to be a small group leader. When was I shooting for that goal? It was by March 1st. And then the next step is, what is the process? So Sean, Sarah, and I worked on this, and we talked about this for a while. Sean was specifically working with him, but our goal was that Sean was leading a small group and Josh was there watching. Eventually, Sean started to release some of the responsibilities to Josh, and he was doing some of the parts of the group, and he was leading things. He was engaging with the kids. Sean and him did it together. Then Josh did it by himself. And Sean was watching the whole time and giving him pointers and coaching him. And now we're to the point where in the next week or two, Josh is going to be released to lead the group by himself. So that was my process. And every week we had to evaluate, where are we in the process. So again, here's the 5-step process. Number 1, who are you developing? Number 2, what's your goal for them? Number 3, when do you want them to accomplish that goal? Number 4, what is the process? And number 5, where are you currently in that process? Because you're always you set this process in place. This is the plan. These are the 5 steps. And you might think each step only takes a week, but one step takes 3 weeks and it delays things. So you constantly want to be reevaluating. So what I'd like for you to do is identify your 3 people that you want to personally develop. This can mean a lot of different things. Some of you might be developing somebody for a small group leader role. Some of you might be developing somebody to be more of a stage presenter. Some of you might be developing somebody on your team, one of your teenagers, a junior or senior, that can help train somebody to be a small group leader. So think about this. Identify your person, identify your goal, identify your targeted time, and then identify your process and keep evaluating where you are in that process. So if you're able to just kind of spend some time praying about this, thinking about this is one of our key roles as a leadership team, as a group of coordinators, is to develop the people under us and invest in them, help them overcome obstacles, and put a plan in place for them. So what I'd like for you to do is in the next week, think about this and kind of write these things out and send them to me, to Pastor Sarah. What is your plan for the people on your team? So Patrick, I want you to focus on the boys on Saturday night. Pam, the girls on Saturday night. Jim, the boys on in the 9:30, and Corey, the girls in the 9:30. Sean, the boys in the 11:15, and Allison, the girls in the 11:15. So let's all just kind of put that together and send those out to me and begin some discussions about how we can truly be developing people. If we constantly are doing this, it creates a leadership culture. It creates a constant opportunity for growth, and we're challenging people to take additional steps of faith in their development. It's a really healthy thing. As I've done this for a lot of years, there's nothing more than investing. There's nothing better than investing in somebody. Nothing more valuable than investing in somebody and giving them that constant opportunity to grow. And it stirs things up in their spirit, and they begin to understand the weight of responsibility that they have as in a new leadership role, and it causes them to pursue God. I love the dynamics of just releasing people into ministry and equipping them to do the things that God's calling them to do, because it doesn't just accomplish the goal of getting something done in the children's ministry. It stirs something up in their spirit, and it lights a fire in them. I think we all have the ability to be a part of that. It's super exciting. I love being able to do this. So each of you, think about those 3 people on your team that you are intentionally developing, and how are you going to do that? What's that look like? Answer all those 5 questions. All right, we'll check in probably next week sometime, and just kind of ask what are you looking to do for each one of those 3 people, and we'll work together to accomplish that. I'll see you guys all this weekend.